What's up, guys? So I am at my mother's house and I am sharpening up some of her kitchen knives slash chef knives. I just got done sharpening a chef knife that I actually got her a while back, but now we're sharpening up some of her other ones. This is one my stepfather uses to cut his brisket up, his meat up. Yeah, okay, so my stepfather uses this to cut brisket, and this is his meat knife, and it is very dull. It definitely has a lot of damage. So we are going to get rid of all damage, but see the blade shape, see how the shape of it is? So in order to get that type of shape, what you want to do is obviously lock your wrist just like any other blade shape. But as you're coming across, when you get to this part, because this is the hard part, you almost have to take your elbow and spin backwards. So it's going up. Now my elbow's going up, and I'll actually pull you guys back so you guys can actually see that. Watch my elbow to get to the tip. And I'll also put my fingers at the tip, and as it's coming around, I'll pull it around to ensure that the tip hits the stone. These blade shapes can be aggravating for beginners, but once you get it down, you realize like there's nothing to it. There's not too much difference. You just have to do the motion. That's it. And it's all just about your elbow. And actually, to be honest, sometimes with this type of shape, you might have to barely flex your wrist. And I don't like to bring that up too much with beginners because I don't want them moving their wrist. However, the more you become a pro, the more you realize there's little situations where you need to move your wrist, like something like this. As I'm coming across, I'm gonna lift my elbow right here, but now maybe to get the tippity tip, I might have to go like this with my wrist just slightly. See that? Just a little tiny bend, but you gotta bring it right back to true, meaning your wrist. We do have a burr from heel to tip, but there's a lot of damage on this, so I'm probably going to do each side a couple times on the coarsest stone. Was this my coarsest one? I think it is. These two stones look identical, almost identical. Yeah, you can feel that damage. Now on the way forward, right? I'm gonna go forward, and now as I get to my belly, I'm gonna lift my elbow, my wrist is locked, lift my elbow, and I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna push it in. So that's gonna help drive the belly around. So I'm gonna go around and drive it. So, and in this case, I might flex my wrist slightly too. Now you don't have to, you could do it with a straight wrist, but sometimes just to get that very, very tip, you might have to. Now with regular blade shapes, you don't have to do that and you don't want to do that. But with certain blade shapes, with bellies like this, NESSMUK blade shapes sometimes, some trailing points, you might have to. It just depends. But you see how I'm kind of using my body too? I'm letting my body rock back and forth. So now my arms can do the same pattern, like a song and a dance. The same pattern over and over and over. I do have a burr, but I can still see a bunch of microchips. So again, like I said, I'm gonna have to do each side a couple times. This one had quite a bit of damage. But we're gonna get it. This thing will be screaming sharp when we're done. Bring you guys a little closer. Good, good. That's what I wanted. Good. So anytime you do that, or you do these little tiny strokes like that, trying to grind out those nicks and chips, make sure you follow up with full passes. You gotta blend it in. Because most likely when you were doing that, one, you put a different scratch pattern on it, but more than anything, you're fluctuating your angle. It's very difficult to do that without fluctuating your angle just a slight bit. So instead of, and also the scratch pattern's gonna be a little bit different. So blend it all in so that the scratch pattern is nice and uniform. You never wanna work on something for too long without blending it in. We're getting close. We still got some chips though. We're gonna get them though. Should have brought my Atoma. If I'd have brought my Atoma diamond plate, we'd be done by now. That's the beautiful thing with when you have a hyper aggressive diamond plate. These are diamonds, these are resin bonded diamonds, but they wouldn't be considered hyper aggressive, not like a 140 Atoma. So a 140 Atoma will shred steel off quickly, making something like this light work, you know, to get all the chips and stuff out. Not sure if I'm gonna do it, but I did bring a rolling knife sharpener. I might have one of my family members use it and show you guys how easy they are to use. If somebody who doesn't know how to sharpen a knife or who's never sharpened a knife can make a knife sharp on it, that'd be a good indicator. So this thing is misground at the tip right here. I seen it before I even started on both sides actually. It's got to be from the factory, but this is a cheap knife, so it's not a big deal. Did I? Yeah, let me flip back over this way. Remember, I'm pulling the tip in. Pulling it in. Pulling it in. Now, this is a good point when having a burr doesn't mean you're done. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, you know, once you have a burr, you're done with one side. But in this case, you know, I have a burr. I'm accumulating a burr, but there's still nicks in the edge. So what I have to watch more than anything, even more than the burr, is my scratch pattern. Has my scratch pattern reached the apex? And is the apex clean? Is there any micro chips or anything like that left? You want to make sure your scratch pattern goes from the top of the bevel to the apex. And make sure there's no chips or nicks. So we have another burr. Let's see. We got 90% of the chips out. I think we're gonna switch to the next stone because this one's still aggressive. So we switched stones. We're on my second stone. We got 98% of the chips out. Normally, I always recommend do not switch stones until you have 100% of the chips out. But I'm very confident in my second stone getting the rest out because it's still a coarse stone. This would still be considered a coarse stone, not even a medium grit yet. So I have no doubt that it won't get the rest of these out. Yeah, there is some significant ones in there though. All right, let's. Getting that nice flow going. If you guys are wondering, that's soapy water I'm using. You just mix dish soap with water and you put enough dish soap that when you shake the bottle, the sound of the bubbles expands so much that you can't hear it slushing around anymore. Like, listen. Hear how the sound stops? Because the bubbles expand so you can't hear the water slushing back and forth. Then you know you have enough soap. So just put enough soap in it that it does that, and it's mixed well. I like using soapy water more than just regular water. Now, if it's just a regular whetstone and that's what it requires is regular water, then I will. But on a lot of stones, I just like using soapy water. It seems to work quite a bit better. The soap has oils in it that help lift up the particles even better than just plain water. So I see one or two little tiny chips right there that I still need to break through, that I want to make sure I get on this stone. They wouldn't make a difference when cutting food, but I want to make sure this edge lasts as long as possible. So I want to make sure it's 100% when I'm done. I'm not going to be able to fix the misground tip, but that's just a misground tip though. The thing will still be sharp and have a fresh edge on it. Let's go like that. Great. Okay, so we are switching to most likely our final stone. This is about 600 grit. Really good. Okay, so I just finished on the 600. I'm going to deburr on this. It's basically a 1200. It's an F400 on Veneve scale, which is pretty much like a 1200 grit stone if you were registering it in grit. So I'm going to do a very gentle pass because I've had a burr on this side and now I have a burr on this side. So my burr's folded around the edge. So now I want to remove it. So I want to be very gentle and just do a stropping pass. This requires no pressure at all. I'm literally just letting the edge, the tip of the edge hit the stone. And the reason why I don't want to apply any pressure is because I don't want to change my scratch pattern. I have the scratch pattern I want already on there. If I put pressure, then now this motion is going to add scratches onto my micro serrations. I don't want that. I just want it to pop that little wire off that's the burr. Kind of like bending a paper clip back and forth until it snaps. So we are pretty much there. I can feel that this is, you know, a very soft steel. So the burr, you know, might be a little bit peskier, but we have some stroppy stuff that we can use. So this is a diamond emulsion from Stroppy Stuff. Yeah, I can feel the rest of the metal particles coming off with Stroppy Stuff. This is a good quality leather and a very good quality abrasive. And I think this one is, what is this one? This one's 1 micron. 1 micron. All right, let's, yeah, it's got some tooth to it. See, we'll grab a real paper towel here in a second. Let me just, let me get a piece, grab a piece of paper, please.
Paper?
Yep. Let's see how this does here. Oh yeah, look at that. Woo! Yeah, it's sharp. Not as sharp as the one I sharpened just a little bit ago because that one's a better steel and a harder steel, but this is still incredibly sharp. You can see I got rid of all those chips. It might have one little tiny microchip still in there. There was a lot, so that's still really, really good. Very happy with that. So, and now he's gonna be able to cut up some nice brisket with this new blade. We'll get it all cleaned up. Yeah, it's got some bite to it. We'll also hit it on the strop one more time since this is such a simple steel. There you guys go. Peace.